Okay, I want to show you how I prepare my brass for the Savage Hog Hunter. The brass has been de-primed, it's been tumbled, but that's all that's been done to it so far. I want to clean out the primer pocket hole, and I have a primer pocket cleaning brush mounted on this motor. It's an old sewing machine motor, but it does a good job. And I just stick it on there and turn it a few times, and you can see it cleans out the primer pocket hole pretty good there, makes it shine, gets out any residue. Then I mount it up in the little power drill. And I have a case trimmer. This is a Lee case trimmer. I've just put a wooden knob on it to make it easier to grip, a little more ergonomic for 308. Insert it, give it a little spin, cuts the case to length. And I do this after every firing because the case does expand anywhere from a half a millimeter to a millimeter at each firing. Also want to make sure the primer pocket hole is uniform and clean. Normally this only has to be done once, but I like to just run it through to test it, give it a few turns. Then I have the Vld Reamer. This puts a taper in the end of the case to accept the bullet easier. Just give it a few quick turns, doesn't take a lot. And then this cleans the burr off the outside of the case. Now, before I use any of my cases, I also trim the necks. You may not be able to tell it on this one, but each of the necks are trimmed to make sure they have a consistent diameter. This makes sure that the crimp on each bullet is as close as possible to being the same. This has a little discoloration on it right now from previous firings. Sometimes the tumbler doesn't get all that off, but this brass is ready to go. So we've prepared the primer pocket here, we've uniformed it, we've trimmed the neck size, make sure it's got consistent neck size, we've trimmed the length, and we've tapered the inside and the chamfer on the outside of the brass. So that brass is ready to reload now. We just continue that process. Again, here we've got a dirty primer pocket hole. Gonna run it on the brush just a few quick turns, and you can see now that primer pocket hole is clean. Alright, we'll chuck this one up in the brass holder, give it a few quick spins. Cut it to length. Check to make sure that the primer pocket is clean. It's clean. Do a quick couple of turns here. That puts a chamfer on the inside, gets rid of sharp edges so the bullet will seat without actually cutting into the outside of the bullet. And then just trim off the burr off the outside of the case. And that case is ready to go also now. And that's what I do to all my brass. It gets a little more consistent. And you know, one of the main things is getting this the case neck sized. It's all trimmed down. You can see on this one a little better, you see the line that it was trimmed to. You don't want to get down into the bevel, just on the flat, and maybe about a millimeter off of the bevel there, and that case is ready to go. You'll get a consistent crimp. Don't crimp it very hard, just enough to keep the bullet in place, and that way you get a more consistent release from bullet to bullet, and you get more consistent velocities out of your bullets. That's what I do to prepare my cases. You may want to read up on it and double check everything. Also, you can tell here from the discoloration, this brass has been annealed. I anneal my brass before first use if it hasn't been annealed from the factory. And then also after every 2 to 3 loads, I'll anneal it again. And that's the reason for the discoloration here on the brass. But that's how I prepare my brass for reloading, and then we'll get into actual reloading here in another quick video. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe below.